chapter 107 of The Flower of Freedom by Deborah Reeves. We're just so glad you've returned. Or if this is your first visit, welcome. The seat is set there for you, at least for you in your imagination. You can leave your burdens outside the door so you have a little respite in your day. That's what this was designed to be, a place of comfort and safety and ideas, I suppose. Here we go. Take your seat, and I'll begin. Chapter 107, Term Limits. Marie was in her final week of classes before Christmas break. Suzette often had to keep her focused because her mind kept wandering to her two little brothers and her parents. It was a relief when Uncle Aki picked her up after her last class. The driver had everything they had packed in the trunk, and he dropped them off at one of their favorite restaurants for dinner before their flight. They had to walk down the street to get to the location, which was closed to auto traffic, and as they walked, Aki said, "Marie Claire, look at those." In a window there was a display of exquisite lace christening gowns. I have small things for the children, but nothing I really wish to give them for Christmas. Do you think that these might make gifts that are somewhat special? Uncle Aki, those belong in the category of family heirlooms. I think they would be amazingly thoughtful gifts. They entered the shop, and soon they left again, carrying 2 boxes under their arms that held 2 similar but different christening gowns. They had a delightful early dinner in an almost empty restaurant. I was a bit surprised that the babies both turned out to be boys, Aki confided. I think I might have been looking forward to seeing what you might have been like when you were little. I'm surprised too. I read in one of my textbooks that older parents tend to have girls. This is going to be fun though. You never met Bertie when he was a little guy. He was a little bit shy, really. I had to do the talking for him, and all he wanted to do was build stuff. If there was trouble to be found, I was the one who found it. Bertie would be sitting happily stacking blocks or building with Lego, and I kept going until I found an obstacle that I could not overcome. Then I would go back and get Bertie and drag him to the obstacle. He would make short work of it, and I would be released to explore further. When I found the next obstacle, I would know exactly where to find him. He would be sitting right there where I left him, working with Lego blocks from his pocket. Aki loved that story, and he laughed aloud. Maybe we should be grateful for small mercies, that they're both boys. But Marie Claire, it's difficult to imagine Bertie as a shy boy. Marie nodded. One time, Mama put us down for naps, and she waited until she thought we were asleep before she went to throw in a load of laundry. I dragged Bertie out of bed, and I made him help me get out of the apartment. He was so good to me, Uncle Aki. I always knew that Bertie loved me. He went down the stairs and out onto the street with me. The mailman had to bring us back, one under each arm. He looked at Mama as though she was the scum of the earth. I was just a little kid, but I remember that glare. He had his reasons, though. It was winter, and we were in our stocking feet. Oh, Marie, how did your mother survive you? I'm just not sure, Uncle Aki. She seems to have loved the adventure of it. Everything we did fascinated her. She made us feel like the most interesting people in the world. Just be glad that she civilized me before you met me. Marie Claire, I'm grateful every day of my life for the way you have transformed my existence. But I am rather glad that Colette had such a way with you. Remind me to thank her when I see her. He finished with a laugh, and he signaled for the bill. The driver was waiting where he had dropped them off. Then they drove to the airport, and within a couple of hours they were headed westward, toward Montreal, where Bertie, Philippe, and Oscar would be waiting to collect them. After the long flight, Uncle Aki and Marie left the airplane somewhat rumpled, but eager to see everyone. Bertie galloped up to Marie and he swung her around with glee. Huh, they must love me best. They named one of the babies after me. Calm down, Bertie, she retorted as she squirmed to be released from his hug. It's only his middle name, and if I remember correctly, that's also Papa's name, but I won't tell anyone and burst your fantasy. As Bertie turned to welcome Aki, Philippe was standing with him, and Oscar scooped up Marie, saying, "My favorite daughter's home." "Papa, I'm your only daughter, but you're still my favorite, Papa." Oscar turned to welcome Aki. It was then that Philippe went over and swung Marie around in a hug. Aki noticed that Marie Claire did not squiggle to be released from that hug. Aki asked everyone how they were, and Oscar responded that Colette and the twins were waiting at home for their return. Colette was so eager to make the introductions. These little guys have been great. They sleep and they eat and they sleep again. Their faces even pop back out and they're actually cute. They obviously take after your mother, he laughed. They sleep at night, which we believe that babies did not know how to do. So far, so good. But then, if they're anything like Bertie and Marie, they're just luring us into a false sense of security so that they can take over and conquer the world. Oscar finished with a chuckle and he climbed into the car for the short ride home. On the front passenger seat was Aki's parka that Oscar had stored for these visits. On the floorboards were his boots. He looked at them with joy and quickly pulled them on. Marie found hers on the back seat and she shimmied into them. They pulled up to the house and Marie said, "I still think this is the prettiest house in the world." "I still think that the prettiest woman in the world lives there," Oscar replied. That's the end of chapter 107. The next chapter is called Christmas Times 2. We hope you'll be here for that. I remain your friend, Deborah.